Welcome to Tier 2. I am your commentator tonight here for BRL's Tier 2 at Portugal. I'm joined here with Biwo. I believe he's just making a coffee and will be right back with us. Not quite the full grid we were hoping for, but Tier 2 does have a few reserves that are stepping in tonight, so it's good to see that at the very least. One could hope. As we're waiting to get this session underway from Heatwave, might have just walked away for a hot second. I know a few of these drivers just try to prepare themselves, so understandable. Oh, interesting. A little cloudy. Maybe we have some cooler running. Maybe some wet to come. Oh, overcast on these softs does help quite a bit with the overheating issue. I know that Tier 4, maybe some of us were struggling with that a little bit more than possibly some of these drivers in Tier 2, as they do have a little bit more handle on the car and a little bit more skill than us, so there is that. So I'm hoping that this cool running results in some better times that we didn't get to quite see from the other tiers due to different types of running with the wet. Let's see. It's a dry time. And Slayer serving their qualifying ban. Thank you, sir, for doing that at this race here. But continuing on, we'll have to see how the other drivers, the last 17 out there, can get on. RL will be starting us off. Hopefully they can set a time and not invalidate, and they'll have our starting off podium, our possible start off time. So yeah, it's good to see. And Drix sets a 15.9 on the soft. Sack is on the mediums with a 17.3, so a pretty decent time to start. That's Danny Rick starting a lap in behind. Ardell coming down over the line. What does he have on those mediums? Oh, he's just starting another lap now, I guess. Got the two McLarens. No Limit starting a run, and same with Mean Fern. So lots of drivers out on a lap now.
I just realized my audio hadn't been included.
Oh, your audio wasn't included. Sorry, Biwo.
Oh, it's okay.
But
I'll do the
yeah,
championship.
sorry, Titan. I'm here to talk. Biwo's here with me, but looks like Ferrari was just getting out of the way for another driver there. But unsighted port puts himself with a 17.5. Seems like Drix still has the time. Boj just making another run for himself by the looks of it. Oh, maybe he doesn't have the fuel and is going to go to the pits, but we'll have to see. Danny Rick puts himself P4 with a 17.1, so good on him. Minico put himself with a 16.4 and Boss Cookie with a 16.3. So those times are already starting to pile in. Yeah, I know. A 15 already is a little early, but strong from the Ferrari driver already. Because
Well,
Boj
I,
had more issues.
when I unfortunately did the championship rundown with my mic unmuted, Ferrari's not scored a point so far this season in the first two races. So, yeah, they need to get the ball rolling when it comes to the championship. So, we'll see what Drix and Ardell can do with that. Let's start, though.
Good start so far as they've Ardell's got himself a 17.6. No Limit set himself with a 17.6. So that 17.5, 17 low area seems to be about where the people have the pace. Who can go a little bit farther? Who can get into those 16s as the track maybe evolves just that little bit? Be interesting to see.
Yeah, right now, I mean, it's about kind of a split. I'm not really going to count Efern's time. He'll for sure improve. It's kind of a split between, the top 5 are softs and from P6 to P10 are mediums. So, we'll see if, Tier 4 is a little bit different. Tier 3 was very different with tire choice because weather was a factor. But we'll see if anyone starts in the top 10 on mediums.
Fern improves a little bit, but needs a little bit more to go. I guess just was warming himself up, maybe with traffic in the way, bowed out of it, but has a 20.2 on the mediums. A few of these drivers still need to get out and get a little bit more. I know Lou is on the mediums. Let's get that higher detail up for you guys. Sorry about that.
Yeah, Meanfern's not using the battery, and he hasn't validated, but I think, he might be just doing this lap just to put temperature in the tires and then switch it on for lap 2, make that be his actual lap. So he doesn't have the fuel add-on, so let's see what his intentions are.
Is Lou going for... I believe he was on another push lap and improving a few tenths, so that's good on him. If he can get this time in, it would probably put him closer to the top of the medium runners. With all the battery he's got left, and that's going to be P5, and again, putting him ahead of all the other medium runners. Yes, he did one more lap on him, but maybe just took that one more prep lap to get himself sorted in with the traction, so...
Yeah, Danny Rick, interesting enough, he set his best time on the soft compound, but now he's gone back in medium, so usually it's the other way around, but we'll see. And looking at Meanfern, he has invalidated on his current lap, so as he did have the battery on, so yeah, he's probably gonna most likely come in unless he has enough fuel to do one more, but
We'll have to see. It seems like Toneless is starting a lap now. His teammate getting out there for an out lap. Lots of drivers out there for an out lap and coming in as well. So
yeah,
we're going to see what Mozzie can set for himself. So far it looks like a decent time coming to the line. 17 flat's going to put him up there. Sure, he's going to want to dig a little bit more, but might not have the battery for another run.
do that. I'm gonna go on Ardell. I saw where he
Charlie trying to get in on the mediums, kind of bowed out of his soft lap by the looks of it. McLaren getting out of his way nicely for him. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Now the two Alpines are out there on a lap. Toneless is a little bit ahead, about to finish his lap.
Yeah, Boss Cookie's
So
about a tenth and a half up on his through Sector 1. Sector 2, he's a tenth up. Don't know if the McLaren cost him a little bit of time. I don't think it did. As Drix has not come back out.
Toneless goes P10 on the medium, so that puts him into the middle of the pack of our medium runners. What does Charlie got for a medium set? He goes fastest overall for our medium runners. Puts him 6/10 closer to Drix, so that's a pretty safe time considering what the soft runners are able to produce. They might be able to push him down, but that's a fairly safe time.
Yep, Boss Cookie about cuts the gap that he had to Drix in half. It was a little over 3.5 tenths, I believe. Now it's 0.16.
Few drivers on laps now. Minico setting a personal purple, or setting purples in Sector 1, so it's good on him. Hopefully he can hold that to the end. He does have quite a bit of traffic ahead.
Yeah, indeed he does. But I believe, let's see, Red Bull of Charlie's on a lap, so he won't hold him up too much. Actually, Charlie does yield.
He bows out. Lets the driver through. What does Minico have?
Hey, who hasn't set a time yet is our championship leader, Veyron. As Minico
improves. It's going to push himself a little bit closer and safer into P3. It's good from him so far. Maybe he's going to try and get in for a another lap, but we'll have to see. I know Vojay's on a run. Same with Danny Rick, I believe. But Danny Rick's invalidated, so that's not going to be great for him. Probably going to try and get another run.
Yep, Veyron, our championship leader, the only driver to be on the podium in the first two races. He puts in a lap about 1.5 off pole on the medium compound.
And Heatwave goes P12 on the medium, so that's mid to higher up. Oh, has a bit of a moment grabbing the curb, but saves the car very nicely, so good on him. Probably going to try and get back into the pits, maybe look at a soft run, but we'll see.
Hey, you know, Charlie sitting in P6, that was a time set on mediums unless it's a glitch, and for that to be 6/10 off pole, be interesting as Drix now extends his gap. Yeah.
Yeah, he extends his leading run. So maybe he's just practiced this track. Maybe this is one that he wants to win at. Who knows? But seemingly has the pace in quali. We'll have to see if they have the race pace and able to hold on to the tires, or if there will be catastrophe into turn 1, or something else. We'll have to see.
Yeah, this is a track, in my opinion. You either like it or you don't like it. There is no in between. Mainly it's because, turn 1, turn 2, validating there, turn 8, like when the back end snapped, and then like you experienced last night with turn 12, that one is a surpriser that can sneak up on you.
It can be a pain out there. Mean Fern improves a little bit on the softs. He still has a ways to go. So that's going to be P15 for him, pushing down Ardell, Vojay, and FinFan.
Yeah, we only have, 5 cars actually on the track. Zach is on an outlap, same as Toneless. So I believe that's both AlphaTauris. No, Toneless is in the Alpine. So he's...
Yeah, and Toneless is on an outlap, so he's starting one now. Ardell's setting himself some purples on the soft compound, improving quite a bit, so hopefully this is a good run into these final corners to get him a little bit more time to dig. Might not have time for more fuel, so he might have to just do a cooldown lap to get battery if he's going for another one.
I'm
It's
interested.
gonna be P8. It's a decent time.
See as Cookie comes around. Oh, I'm sorry, Zach comes around to start his qualifying attempt. He's
Ainfern, I think, is hustling to get back to the pits.
yeah, he is.
Yes.
He might have time to get back out there. We'll see. I mean, he's going to have to make it quick. Luckily, his teammate's on the track, so he won't get really held up.
Toneless is invalidated. Boss Cookie's on an out lap. FinFan's on an out lap. So who's our... Ozzy is on an out lap.
We got Zach on the lap. I did not catch what he did in Sector 1. He's in Sector 2 right now. Coming to the Red Bull, I believe that is Charlie. Yep, yields. And Zach's not really improved on this lap, so let's see what he does here. I think it's kind of in the position where he could do another go, but his Drix is retired. Yeah, Zach brings
He's
it
going
in.
to try and get to the pits. I think that's it for Zach, though. I'm not quite sure he's going to be able to make it around again with the time that's left. It'll be tight.
It's going to be very, very tight. Charlie back out, starting a lap on mediums, so he is indeed going to try to start this race on mediums, be in the top 10. 8/10 back from Paul, but more importantly, he's give or take 4/10 out of P11, so...
FinFan, I know, is on a run. Is Toneless on a lap, or is he... Toneless is on a run, setting purples, so that's good for him. Foji getting out of the way for him on his out lap.
Yeah, Katra had a long queue of cars that she had to let through. See what
Yeah, I agree, Quick Tongue. We did a lot of short shifting through there. Turn 8, but Toneless puts himself into P9, so that's good from him. His teammate in behind is trying to improve. That's P14 for FinFan on the softs. I believe Ardell getting back out there. Zach getting back out there. They only have a minute. I don't think Zach has the time, so I think he's realized that and now is just getting out of the way.
Charlie
but,
pits.
we'll have to see.
Where is Zach at? I'm gonna say he won't make it. I can't tell. Okay, 40 seconds left where he's at. I don't think he's gonna be able to make it. We'll see. I could be wrong.
Catra's put themselves right up into P4 and has another run. Heatwave pushes down Catra, but she still has a chance to pull it back and hits the curb.
Oh.
Commentator curse, and she is off, so unfortunately I think that's her run done. Zach being pushed down by some of these late runs as No Limit sets himself a better time. Same with Heatwave to push him down.
Trying to see
I believe Lou is on a run now, but had Catra really close to the behind. Maybe that threw off Catra a little bit with the dirty air.
That'll be it. So it's Aston Martin that's coming up across the line now. All times will count. However, no one will start a new time, and that would be unfortunate for Zach.
Us Cookie's not improving, so maybe it was better while the track was cooler for a lot of these tires. So yeah, it seems like the overcast is the preferred weather for at least qualifying.
Now, Trick set, I want to say it was a high, it was a 15.9. That was when it was cloudy. Let me see if anyone else's Miniko's done.
Port moves himself up into P5, pushing Zach down to P10, No Limit down to P9, Catcher down to P8.
I think that will be it.
And I think that's relatively it. There's still no limit into the pits. Everybody else is relatively done. I know Catcher doesn't have a lap. Heatwave, I think, is bowed out of his run.
He has indeed. So Drix I'm pretty sure Boss Cookie. Yeah, Boss Cookie's also validated. So Drix will get pole. Well done to him. I did it earlier, but my audio was included, so I'll do it again and give a little championship top 10 recap. Veyron of the Mercedes leads the championship with 40 points. Heatwave in second place is 15 points back with 25 points. Wraith P3, 22 points. Zach P4 has 19 points. Boss Cookie has 18 points in P5. P6 Charlie has 16 points. P7 DXD to go with 12 points. 8th place is Ruben with 10 points. 9th, 10th, and 11th are tied with 8 points. However, the tiebreaker is Miniko because I believe he has the highest finishing result out of those three. Moving to the team championship, Mercedes leads the championship with 62 points. Red Bull trails in P2 by 21 points. AlphaTauri in P3 with 37 points. McLaren P4 with 16 points. Alfa Romeo in P5 with 15 points. Alpine is in 6th with 9. Williams is in 7th with 8. Haas F1 is in 8th place with 2 points. And Aston Martin and Ferrari are tied for 9th with not scoring a point yet. However, Aston Martin has the highest finishing result over Ferrari to have P9.
And there you have it. So, yeah, welcome to the chat. Thanks, Deemer, for talking in there. Potato as well. I'm looking at the chat, trying to keep in touch with all of you, but I just didn't want to cut off my co-coms there as he was going through all the points. But I see y'all. So, I don't know, Quick Tongue. Maybe you guys should just make sure all the drivers show up, and then I wouldn't be reserved. Because every time I'm gonna race, I'm gonna do that rain dance. I'm telling you, it's magic.
Yeah, I looked at her.
I love the rain dance for Tier 4.
I don't mind into what now what I saw in Tier 3 in qualifying was some of the worst rain conditions I have ever seen. And I think Ron said that as well, like how many puddles there were and how wet it was. And I just look at that going, I don't want a part. No. I don't mind wet. I don't want a monsoon.
I don't mind. I think it really stresses the drivers, and I do okay with the wet because it keeps my tires cool, and I love it.
Yeah,
I
but
actually love the wet because I don't have to worry about tire temps as much because I can just grab puddles and life goes on. So I'm a happy boy playing in the puddles, but I understand others are not.
I
So it
don't.
is
I mean,
what it is.
are we here to race? What are we doing? Are we here to race cars or boats?
I agree, but I like how it mixes up things for some of the drivers, and it
Uh,
does add a tactical kind of element to the racing, which is a little bit less with just
I
a dry run per se, but
I'm waiting for my first ever race where it's just all soaked and wet. I just hope I don't end up like Felipe Massa in Silverstone 2008 and spin 6 times.
hey, you never know. You can get those monsoon. Maybe we'll get a thunderstorm at one of our tier races. We do several tier races between realistic and 4 tiers, so
Yeah.
5 races a week. There's that chance that we could have thunderstorms at one of the races in the season, so we'll have to see who gets it. It'll be interesting to see a few safety cars
Well,
or
I don't know if you remember.
something like that.
I don't remember if you Portimao for realistic last season. It's not going to rain in this race. We might see it in Tier 1, but when it started raining at Portimao that day, it literally in one lap, it went from, oh, it's starting to rain to all of a sudden, Sector 3, one lap later, was undrivable. I remember a handful of drivers just spun off just because of how quickly it just changed the track. So let's take a look here at. So interesting enough. So everyone in the top 10 on softs. After that, what we got? 4 soft runners versus 5 medium runners. Charlie being the highest medium runner, P11. Ardell the highest soft runner, P12. Those are guys that are starting on a fresh set. If you are in the top 10, if you're on the tire that you used to set that time. So those tires have wear. However, P11 on down, they get a fresh set. A nice position. I was in that last night.
Yeah, it does seem like some of the back runners are opting for that medium run. We'll have to see how temperature plays out in the race. Redeemer, you were crazy for doing 19 laps on softs in Tier 3, by the way. Thank you for showing us that you're just literally an insane man.
I won't
Just
lie.
literally insane.
I when the second safety car came out, before then I looked, I was like, can I take these mediums all the way? And I was thinking, I might need a pit, but right when I had that thought is right when the safety car came out. So, Redeemer was trying to do a Hail Mary, and hey, sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah, I agree with Potato. He could have gone longer. 19? Puh. 21 at least. Right, Redeemer? Well, we'll see as we're getting on with these drivers. We're going to wait for these 5 red lights and
Redeemer
try to get
right
going.
Here trying to be Checo. Good.
And here we are. Lined up on the grid. Start our Tier 2 Portugal Grand Prix. 5 red lights. And away we go. So far, so good. Looks like a few good clean starts, but it's going to be tight down the inside.
Always
and it looks
is.
like Drix loses out to Boss Cookie.
Oh, the
Minico
Red Bull.
looking for a
I believe
move
that's
as
Charlie,
well.
And that was, who was that? The Ferrari of Mozzie. I believe that was Mozzie. No, that was Ardell. Someone clipped
So
the...
Ardell's lost out. Charlie's somewhat lost out. Drix is lost out against Boss Cookie. Now is trying to run away as he's got 6/10 already up the road. Minico hounding the back of Drix already. So the chain is already formed. Everybody already looking to try and get ahead. Game saying it's a soft medium, but I think we all know a little bit better. It's going to be a soft medium, most likely, unless there's a safety car. So we shall see.
Let me see if anyone got any damage over that, other than maybe Charlie and Ardell. I don't think so.
As Charlie and Ardell swapping positions in the back. Maybe Ardell has some wing damage, but we'll have to see. They can
Well,
pull that back.
Ardell's car went airborne. Just saying.
Oh, so we've already had a flying car.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Hang on. Boss
Look at that
Cookie.
chain.
Yep, indeed, Ardell pits. So
Doesn't seem like many of the other drivers had wing damage, so maybe it was just Ardell. Unfortunate for him. What's he swapping out to? Is it just the medium tires? I would hope so.
yeah,
One of them was just a rim for a second. Interesting that they got that on. He's getting a new wing, and away he goes. But that'll be that for now.
I guess it was a lucky escape for Charlie. He'll have work to do though. Meanwhile, we pretty much have a DRS train from pretty much P1 to P18. Mozzie's kinda as well, flag is out. That's hey, Katra has
Catra's
spun.
having an issue and is spun out at turn 8, so that's going to lose her a lot of positions.
I hate that corner so much. Oh,
Catra having more overheating issues.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not going the way she wanted after having a fairly strong qualifier, so...
turn 8 for some reason, the car would just step out and you'll just lose traction. It'll just spin out. That second part of the spin
Come on, game.
is just her tires are overheated and it's like you're driving on ice. So all you have to do.
And Minico also losing out as well. So yeah, I don't know if both the Williams running the same setup and now having issues, but Veyron overtaking Mean Fern. It looks like Slayer looking on a move for Mean Fern as well. And goes for the dive and just misses the back of Veyron, but Heatwave coming in off of the track. Zach, the Beast, is off in turn 4. Contact, Heatwave has now been spun.
Yeah.
So what is going on back here? Zach I don't think has a wing.
He does not.
Does Heatwave have a wing? Heatwave does, but that contact has thrown him to the back. Minico made up a few places because of it, but we've lost out a few drivers to some contact early on. It's caused pretty much a top group of the 5 and everybody else in behind now. As now Veyron's the leader of the second train in P6. Heatwave is out.
I don't know what happened there. He just went straight. I don't know if he caught the curb there at turn 7 and that just had him go around, or if. Wow.
Let's just hope it was a wheel issue, maybe a pedal issue, and it gave him full throttle into a corner or something. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't on board for that one, but that's
I
heat
just
wave
saw
out. It's
it.
not a safety car.
It is not. I mean, it's nowhere near on the circuit. I just saw Red Bull just go flying off in the distance. So don't know really what happened there. I was gonna
Port
mention.
trying to close him back into Drix, and it looks like Boss Cookie hasn't been able to get rid of Drix at this point in the race. Was trying to get that 6/10 to a 1 second gap before DRS, but it looks like these two are going to be stuck together for a little bit longer. So
Yeah, I mean, Drix and Boss, they've kind of pulled away there from inside of Port, and then on side of Port, he's got Luciano, Danny Rick, the two Haas's behind him, stuck in his DRS range. Drix might be just kind of just sitting here. He's not really using the battery. I mean, he's darn near at 90% on it. And this place it burns DRS if you play with that button, as Zach Pitts.
Slayer makes contact with Mean Fern. I think trying to go the long way wide and turned in a little too early, but he's just going to wait to get back onto track. And that's not great for him. Trying to get control of the tires. Maybe they're just a little hot, but
I was about to mention him. I mean, he was up, I think, P8 behind Veyron. Those two pretty much started in the back. Slayer had his quali ban and had been improving the most out of this race, and then unfortunately that happened. Veyron, though, up to P7. He's up 10 spots.
Charlie makes that overtake on Mean Fern, so he's up into P8. Looks like Katra's getting ahead of Slayer as Slayer's into the pits now for probably new tires. Maybe a wing as well.
Drix
a new wing as well.
Drix, by the way, gets by Boss Cookie.
Minico gets around FinFan at the back, but Drix getting ahead of Boss Cookie.
Meanwhile,
I wonder if these two are going to be jousting more of the race. Looks like Boss Cookie just didn't want to use up all of his battery on that go, so maybe these two are just going to use it to pull themselves away and then joust to the end. But Lou getting ahead of Port with the DRS right now. Minico and FinFan fighting it out at the back. Looks like FinFan gets ahead of Minico this time out, so
so far
XRL setting that fastest lap.
We don't have any penalties so far, as Boss Cookie is kind of saying in just his DRS, he might be trying to recharge his battery, but at this place, once you kind of burn it, the only place you really get to have the battery back is when you pit. So I don't see that.
Unless you have DRS to kind of not use your battery and kind of use the DRS as your own secondary battery in a sort of way, but Port not gaining a whole lot. Lou not having the pace to make a big impact on Boss Cookie and Drix, so maybe Port's going to want to get back around.
Yeah, they're all.
Charlie's caught to the back of Veyron, and Veyron on the back of No Limit.
Let's see if to get Nico back in here. I saw where he left.
Yeah, it looks like it's a battle of attrition. A lot of these drivers trying to save on to some battery and use the DRS mostly to make the moves. I don't think anybody wants to be dumping too much around here. As you said, there is not a lot of regen to be had. Minico joined back in, so maybe it's just a disconnection that's throwing them out.
Yeah, he came on pit road or pit lane, and I don't think that was because of wanting to retire. Just sometimes the AI will do weird things if you're not in the car. As Veyron is basically all over the back of No Limit. No Limit doesn't really have the barrier to defend. Veyron and Charlie's had a very interesting opening 7 laps, but he's back up to P8.
No Limit not with a lot of battery. It looks like Veyron and Charlie kind of saving a bit more, looking to get ahead, but they're on the medium stint, knowing that they have to go a little bit longer, knowing that they have to maybe conserve a little bit more. So far so good for them.
Yeah, we're coming to finish lap 7. You know, we had our race. I'm trying to harp back to tier 3. Actually, no. About lap 11 is when the window opens to do a 1-stop if you're on these softs. So, about a handful of laps.
They have a few more to go. Yeah.
See if Veyron now looks to make the move on No Limit. No Limit.
That's
kind
two
of
moves. That's another move. That's another move. No Limit.
There.
I don't know if that many moves are allowed on a straight, so we'll have to see what the stewards might think of that. Heatwave, or Charlie makes the move into the corner and gets ahead of No Limit, so McLaren losing 2 positions into turn 1 and 3, so.
Yeah, the Red Bull, well, what a late.
Red Bull making 2 moves in this lap, but has to joust their way back through. But that's going to be P6 for right now for Charlie, trying to make a move. Highest medium runner at this point, so possibly that will pay big dividends towards the end. Looks like Port's making a move close to Danny Rick, but we'll have to see what he can do with DRS.
It was a late lunge there by the Red Bull, but he didn't look like he initiated the contact, more like the Mercedes wasn't expecting him there.
Maybe just try to squeeze him out a little bit and got a little bit closer than they wanted into the corner. Maybe just with a little bit of loss of traction, who knows.
Yeah,
Luciano warming his tires, I guess, or weaving a little. Unsure what that's about. Port makes his way through.
Yeah, these guys are about 3.5 seconds back of P2 and P1. As now the Haas cars are fighting.
And the 2 Haas drivers are fighting, and that's going to push
fine.
Danny Rick off. And he reset to track, so that is definitely going to be a penalty come the end of the race. So, we shall see.
That's a no-no.
Lou was holding up Port by the looks of it, but Port might be able to claw it back. We'll have to see. Veyron getting ahead of No Limit into the corner there. The 2 of them are still jousting it out. The soft should be falling off a bit of a cliff at this point.
Yeah, I took a look back at the front too as, we have our Ardell's around, I believe.
In turn 2.
Yes.
And safely rejoins back to track. Slayer gets around him as well. Not Ardell's day. Maybe just the tire temps throwing him out. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but same with Zach. Not his day either.
That'll be interesting. Boss Cookie, he's in the single digits now, kind of in the teens when it comes to the ERS. Be interesting to see if Drix, he has a little bit more battery. Not to use it maybe in the DRS straight because he's going to lose it anyways, but see maybe if he tries to open up a 1-second gap and at least get out of DRS range with Boss Cookie. Because his battery was in the 70s, now it's in the mid-20s, so let's see.
Danny Rick trying to recover his race a little bit after contact with his teammate throwing him out, but onto the back of Charlie, so doing well to do that. Now stuck himself in between him and Veyron, so.
Watching these 2 up front. Now back kind of sort of on equal. Comes on the battery, Drix with about 8-9% more.
It's a little bit more battery, but Bosco, he's still holding in that DRS. And I think that's just helping these 2 stay kind of away from the rest of the pack.
Yep, how many laps have we completed? 11? Yes.
We're on lap 11 so far.
11. So, it's going to be interesting to see which one of these blinks. If Drix pits, what does Boss Cookie do? Does he follow suit or does he stay out? Or
I'm sure they're going to stick together.
Well,
But it could be the chance of the undercut. Maybe Boss Cookie will look for it if Charlie or if Drix doesn't. So we'll have to see.
this is about the window when it's open, so we'll see what happens with Drix. If Drix pits, does Cookie follow suit? If Drix stays out, does Boss Cookie then pit? But there is a double, flip side of that coin. Wherever Boss Cookie pits, I don't know the true delta as Slayer gets the first penalty of the day. If the pit delta is, let's say, 20 seconds, he's gonna come out basically right behind Toneless, so traffic can hold him up as well.
Slayer breaks the ice, and then we have another time penalty from Blue. So interesting to see already. Time penalty starting to rack up 1/3 of the way through this race. So does Drix pit? No. Boss Cookie follows. Port, what do you think? Port's going to keep going. Same with Lou. Charlie's obviously going to keep going because he's on the mediums, but Danny Rick's going to look at keep going.
Looks
Infern, you looking at pitting?
No one's pitted yet. This place is, we've already talked about turn 8 a little bit, how tricky that corner is. This place, when it comes to track limits, it's not, as Boss Cookie's starting to get a little bit aggressive there on Drix. It's not nice when it comes to track limits. We know about turn 1, the final corner. Actually, the little straight leading up into turn 8 is also a place for invalidation. I mean, they rack up.
They do rack up. It happens to the best of us. I even collected a 3-second time penalty, which I was pretty annoyed with myself for. So even just three track limit violations is enough to do it, right? So
yeah,
and grabbing one on lap 32 is even more painful. So we'll have to see what they do. Will they pit this time around or keep going? These drivers are from tier 2, so they can take out their tires that stretch farther. It looks like Boss Cookie does have DRS. He's going to look for that lunge. Will it be enough? Not quite. He's going to bow out of it for this time. No limit taking a 3-second. Fan having some issues as well. Toneless gets ahead of Meanfern on the straight, so it's good for him and the medium runners, but it looks like the softs are definitely fading at this point.
Trying to see. So far they've stayed out. Boss Cookie's been a little bit more aggressive. Boss actually has a little bit more battery than Drix at the moment, so they're 3 seconds clear of P3. Actually, Port's actually closed in about a half a second, I think, so.
Well, with a little bit of these two jostling and looking at each other for a position, I think it's going to help Port close in a little bit more, as Drix now has to do a little bit more defensive action against Boss Cookie. So
yeah, and
Port making the most of the bad tires, it seems, and able to hold it out and have the pace. So now all the penalties are coming in. Ardell takes one, Katra takes one, so penalties are going to start racking up.
Oh, they both pit.
Boss Cookie and Drix following each other into the pits. Boss Cookie closing in that gap as much as he can.
So
Port goes into the pit, but Lou is going to keep going.
And what does Danny Rick do? He stays
He's going to keep going.
Next one will be Mean Fern pits. Hey, Katra, she's had her spin in P8, but what does she do? Does she come in? Does she stay out? She will come in. And that's really about it on the guys that started on the softs that haven't pitted yet. So only Danny Rick and Luciano, the two, ironically, Haas cars, stay out. So.
And Minico had to pit under his AI, so
yeah,
I'm not sure what his plan will be at this point.
Well, I
go for a safety car and maybe go for another soft run.
Well, I believe he started the race on soft, so he will have no choice but to go to the medium compound, because I believe he was in the top 10 when he started this race. Let me take a look. Yes, indeed he was. So. Yeah, he had no choice but to go on the medium compound. As one of the horses actually have gone off. That's I believe
Yeah,
Luciano.
Lou's gone off. It's given Charlie the position.
Well,
And
this
now
puts,
both the Haas's are side by side. Are they
they
going to
both have
double
to pit.
stack?
No.
Lou gets the pit. Danny keeps going. Veyron's going to hound the back of Danny Rick. He's got DRS. It's not going to be close enough this time around, but still going to help Veyron get a good position. Coming from all the way to the back to P3. That's what we kind of expect from our championship leader at this point, but
Meanwhile,
Boss Cookie and Drix fighting side by side. Drix gets the head on DRS, so...
yeah, and inside of port, he's only 2.5 seconds back in P8. So these three guys, you know, they're 2 seconds behind Mozzie in P5. He's not pitted. Maybe one of the first medium guys that they'll catch. In fact, Drix and Boss Cookie, they can see him as in Sector 3. That is a Slayer.
Off.
Oh, wow. Slayer basically rejoined the track.
Re-entry slightly and almost cut off Zach.
Luckily,
that nobody took any wing damage, but...
luckily
yeah.
Slayer was still in AI, but yeah, that could have been bad, because that could have been bad for both of them.
That could have seen two drivers out. I'm glad that it didn't happen, but continuing on, Veyron looking at the move, Danny Rick into the pits, so that's going to be inheriting a position for Veyron. He's got DRS to try and chase down Charlie, but he's gotten himself about a 4-second gap. So
yeah, now the goal for these guys on mediums, these 4 guys that have stayed out, is push as far as you can on this tire. You got all the clean air, clean track you will have, and then lap 20, lap 21, you'll have a brand new fresh set of softs. You won't have to start, you won't have a qual set with wear on your softs to start the race like the ones that did earlier for the rest of the way. So see if you can, they were running around P6, P5, so we'll see what happens when this all shakes out.
And Mozzie letting the fresher medium tires through of both Drix and Boss Cookie.
Which is smart. Mozzie's got to play the long game, and Drix and Boss Cookie are, their pace is way faster.
Got to play the long game, yes, but these two are potentially the leaders of the race. It might also be in their best interest to hamper them in a sense.
I mean,
Slayer having some issues into turn 1, it seems. The curb catching them out.
I mean, you have your race to run. I mean, yeah, it's a race, but I mean, look at how big of a gap they've already pulled away from Mozzie. Mozzie wasn't. It's nothing against Mozzie. He just had a tire deficit. You're going to lose time by battling, and then you're going to drag in. Probably, it's going to hurt you later on when you have to hit the softs.
Yeah, but letting them only pass you maybe into turn 12 instead of turn 4 or 5 would have been better, because then he would have had DRS to keep himself closer away from port. So like, I'm hearing you out, but Mozzie could have done it for his advantage. Like, it's good to be tactful with it, but now he doesn't have DRS and under threat from port, and port's gonna make a move on him because of it. So
yeah, I mean, I speak for last night. I knew Titan was behind me on fresh set. And once he got my DRS right into the second DRS, I just kind of just let him by, because he's going to go by me one way or another. I'll just take the little bit of pain there and then just run the rest of the laps I can.
Slayer, I think, having more issues.
Yeah, inside of port, it was 3.5 seconds, and it was 2.5 seconds after the round stops.
Well,
now
that's the thing.
1.7.
Boss Cookie got ahead of Drix, so the two have been jostling for a position, and it's going to give Port a chance to close in a little bit more. So these guys are all fighting. In theory, they're all race leaders, with the pit that Charlie, Veyron, and Toneless still have to do, and without the gap to secure that position, but we'll have to see.
Who's gone off this? That's Slayer again.
And Drix takes a 3-second time penalty, and that's just going to be an interesting thing to continue on for the race. So now Drix needs to get ahead unless Boss Cookie takes a penalty. So this is going to be great for Port as well, and behind.
Slayer has come in, and he has decided to retire. Yeah, 3 seconds going to be crucial. Right now, we'll see how this shakes out. I think he'll still be on the podium, barring anything else that happens. But kind of now puts, the race in Boss Cookie's hands now. Now, what Boss Cookie needs to not do is get a 3. Then just put Drix right back into position to win this game. And good gives us out of Port, who's just slowly closing on these guys right in for the win.
Well, we're saying who's going to get the win, but it looks like FinFan might have a good chance with all the penalties that are ahead of him. Yes, he still needs to pit, but could make up a lot of positions on those softs. Same with the other drivers that still have yet to go to the softs.
Yep.
Drix getting ahead of Boss Cookie into turn 1, but again, these two fighting for a position all the time is going to let Port get that little bit closer, and it helps them get about 2/10 every time they decide to fight it out. So
yeah, I wish I would love to know what would be the pit lane delta, because right now Drix is, let's take a look, he's 14 seconds back. Charlie's run.
well, it's probably only about 28 seconds or so plus your pit time, so probably close to 28 to 30 seconds. But then you're also slow coming into turn 1 where they have a full head of steam. So
Yeah. Take a look at the penalty situation. I think everyone has just 3s except Bardell. Yes. So everyone has a
Charlie
3-second
and-
except.
Charlie and Veyron into the pit. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. So they'll look.
Toneless continues on. Yeah.
So they'll have what, 13 laps, 14 laps on this. Okay, they're going to stretch as long as
13
they
laps. Yeah, 13 laps on medium should be pretty doable on lighter fuel load at this point.
So
Veyron's going to be stuck behind the two Haas's, though, where Charlie got ahead.
Well, that's kind of job done for Veyron. He wasn't really, he's closed in on them, and partly that is because the Haas cars, they stayed out the longest on that soft set. So Veyron actually gains time on them. Charlie, if he can make quick work of Mozzie here, he might be
Does.
able. Yeah.
He still has to wait out fuel. There hasn't been a safety car, and I'm not sure he's going to have the fuel he needs, but we'll have to see how the end goes.
It is that yellow. Nico now
Drix and Boss Cookie fighting it out again, allowing Port to close in another 3/10. Toneless into the pits now. Boss Cookie's going to fight it out as these two swap positions again for the lead. Maybe that's the 4th or 5th time now.
So we'll get a good actual representation. I'll let it refresh. So 9 seconds back. He could, Charlie, if he doesn't get a penalty at the minimum, he could be on for a podium.
And FinFan takes a 5-second for speeding in pit lane, coming in for those softs at the end, so that's not going to help his run.
No, it's not.
Ozzy into the pits now after doing a long stint on the medium, so this is pretty much it. Minico on to a fresh set of mediums as well towards the end. Ardell into the pits now. Zach's still probably needing a pit.
Now that you've mentioned the fuel, what does the red X stand for? Do you know what that means? Like at Drix.
Well, that the red X just means Ardell's in the pit. That's all.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what that
Yeah.
means.
But yeah, Charlie with the yellow means he's a little bit underfueled. We'll have to see. That's going to pay out towards the end. Gets the fastest lap at very least with a 17.7.
If my math is right, he gained 1.3 seconds on that lap. So
Maybe he's just at the line. Maybe it's not as bad as could be.
well,
I know I underfueled a great amount. Voj for 5 seconds for speeding in pits as well, so not helping his run.
yeah, I did a kind of a mock Grand Prix run during the week, and there was no safety car in that, and I had 1.5, 1.6 laps of fuel over, and by the race end, I was zero point 0.2 to the good. So I think if he is at 1.5 or 1.6, it's going to be borderline, but I think he'll be okay.
But yeah, unsighted Port, definitely the man that has an apt name, as he's been unsighted from behind these two, closing in the entire time as they've been jostling for position. Now he's equally as close to Drix as Drix is to Boss Cookie at this point, and pushing in closer, making an impression for the end of the race. So unsighted Port has not let this one slide. He's going to try and fight this one out to the end, as we got a three-way fight going. Charlie trying to close it in even more. He's 6 seconds out. And Drix is going to get another 3-second time penalty. And that's just going to give it up to possibly Charlie at this point for a podium.
Charlie's 5.9 to the good as Drix gets by Boss Cookie. I don't think Veyron will be a threat to Drix, but
no, but I think Boss Cookie just wants Drix ahead so that he's got DRS to keep Port behind. I think it's a strategic play because he knows Drix can't win with those time penalties.
Yeah.
So a lot of strategy coming into play from some of these drivers. Port trying to get ahead of Boss Cookie, getting right to the back of him. But with DRS from both of them, it'll be very hard for Port to get ahead.
Yeah, Boss Cookie would look to stay in Drix's DRS range. With Drix's 6 seconds, the battle really for the win between Boss and Unsighted. Nice, good run here for Unsighted Port to close that gap in and now have him have a shot at this.
Boss Cookie doesn't have any battery, neither does Drix. Port does have the juice in theory, but Charlie closing in, 5 seconds out now, so.
He's on the button, and the fuel still says yellow, it's not red, so it's the only one I see up front that has yellow and their fuel. Yeah.
Danny Rick having a bit of a moment, but saves the car. Lou is chasing down his teammate again as these two are still jostling it out. But with penalties, they might want to figure out who's doing what for the team. Or if it's every man for himself, I guess. But No Limit's going to take another penalty there, unfortunately.
Well, right now with Haas, they got Veyron ahead. He's on 3 laps off, so one would assume that Veyron will pull ahead. Haas and P6, P7 with Tonus behind them on softs. Just don't trip over each other at the moment.
But yeah, we can grab our first 3 leaders pretty much within a 1.5 second blanket. So they're all just chasing each other through. Rick's trying to get away, goes a little bit low to try and get away from Boss Cookie, but Port just going to close it in. He knows that Boss Cookie's got no battery, so maybe he's looking for more of a last lap dive or something, but we'll see.
He's actually got the highest battery of the 3, and he'll know that because, like you said, he'll be able to see them flash the red light on the back, which is the indication that they're below 15%.
Yep, that is true. Boss Cookie is definitely under that 15%. Drix has even less, trying to get away from the two of them. But Charlie, now 4 seconds back, with time still on the board to close it in. Will it be enough for Charlie to maybe steal this one on that alt strategy, the mediums to softs? Aaron's trying to close it in still too. Not quite having the same impression as Charlie, but so far having a very good run.
Well, Charlie
may still catch Drix on penalties.
He's already within the window. Charlie's 5 seconds behind Drix, so he's already in that 6-second window.
Yeah, but Veyron could still close it in too, so he might push Drix even farther down if push comes to shove.
It'd be really hard for Veyron. He's 13.6 behind Drix, so he's got a lot of work to do. He doesn't have to worry about traffic though. But
He doesn't have to worry about traffic, and Drix has to worry about defense, so
I think if Drix gets 9, that might put Veyron to play.
there's still a few laps left. We'll have to see what will happen towards the end.
Because I mean, 7.6 seconds for Veyron to catch up. That's a lot of time.
It is, but again, the mediums will start to fade a little bit more, and the softs will be slightly superior. Katra makes a move on Meanfern into the DRS, so that's her up into P10. Still has penalties and wants to get a little bit farther ahead, so good on her at very least. Good recovery drive from her earlier mishap.
Yeah, she'll need to pull a gap. Let's see. Yeah, she'll need to pull a 3-second gap on me in front of Mozzie to retain that. Unless he's in the position to get actually past both Haas cars, 4 seconds behind Luciano, who has a 6. Might be able to get Danny Rick if he can close in a couple seconds.
So far, Port unable to make any impressions due to DRS from Drix and Boss Cookie, so it's not going to be an easy run towards the end. Boss Cookie, I think, making the strategic play as the two Haas drivers trade positions, which isn't going to help them, as the more they fight, the more Toneless is going to close into them, so...
Meanwhile, back up front, Charlie's 4.4, so firmly in 66 seconds. Penalty window. Meanfern gets another.
He sees them ahead, though. He's 3 seconds out, so he can see them through the corners. They're ever so close, yet still far away.
He's been slowly reeling them in. He's been at like 10% battery pretty much ever since he threw his softs on, and he's still only got yellow for fuel, so far so good on that. He might be having to lift and coast to save fuel, which might be the reason why he's not closing as fast.
2.8 seconds out. It's going to be interesting. Boss Cookie makes the move on Drix.
He has been shifting up to 8th gear.
Oh, that's contact. Drix loses his wing with contact from Boss Cookie and has to hit the brakes pretty hard to get through the corner. I don't think Boss Cookie took any damage from that.
Oh, Purport just went wide there. I don't think he has any damage visibly. But
I'm not sure if Boss Cookie has any damage after that. Doesn't appear so, but Drix, with a few laps left, has wing damage and a penalty. What will they do? Will they pit or just try to keep going? They get out of the way for Charlie at very least. Good on them for that. Charlie trying to close in.
Charlie's here.
Charlie's here. He's ready to play.
Oh, that was going on. Charlie just basically cut his deficit in half. Now you were saying about Veyron, could he get Drix now? Well, with Drix having the damage, yes. Veyron is closing in on that. It's not really gonna help Drix at that damage with working lap 28 complete, as here comes Charlie on side of Port for P2.
Yeah, Boss Cookie ran away as soon as he got around Drix, but Boss Cookie trying to extend himself away from any issues, but Charlie coming up strong, now 2.5 seconds out.
Yep. Now we'll see what happens.
Maybe Port does have light wing damage after the brake check from Drix. Maybe that's why he's lost off pace from Boss Cookie. Maybe it's just light orange or light green rather, but damage is damage, unfortunately.
Yeah, Drix pits. I believe Nico. Who is that? Oh, that's
yeah. It looks like Port's struggling quite a bit through the corner, so I think he does have light wing damage, unfortunately.
So he is on a fresh set of softs, so I think he'll get by probably Katra, but what could have been for Ferrari?
Unfortunately for Port, he's lost out, and it's just been a big advantage for Boss Cookie after Drix has contact and loses his wing, and then Drix, I think, does light wing damage to Port, so unfortunately that's just been the collateral damage Boss Cookie needs to pretty much win this, but Charlie not wanting to let it go. 1.8 out. Can he steal it towards the end?
Well, Charlie doesn't have much both of these guys don't really have battery, so it's gonna have to be just by pure pace, and maybe if the softs still do have a little bit of an advantage. Also could come down to penalties, you know. Boz crucially cannot get a 3 as Drix gets 9 seconds.
That's going to send him right out of the points pretty much. So
yeah, unfortunate.
That has definitely changed the outcome of the race. We'll have to see if there's any steward reports going forward, but for now, Boss Cookie is our leader, followed by Charlie, followed by Port, but Port has lost a lot of pace. So yeah, it looks like he's really struggling through the corners. Definitely seems like it's a wing issue. Will he be able to hold off Veyron, or is Veyron going to be able to steal another podium for his championship total?
I think if you're on side of Port, if you do have slight wing damage, but it is drivable, and I would,
oh no.
Port,
and a 3-second time penalty because of the wing damage is not going to help him.
No.
So now he's only got a second gap to Veyron. So Veyron looking to make that P3 towards the end of the race after starting so far back on the grid. So
I mean, well, it's just the position change. So Charlie's 9 spots up from when he qualified, but remember, Charlie was turned around in the second corner on the first lap and was basically dead last. Veyron, P4, started, he's improved 13 spots from his starting position, so the alt strategy has worked.
Loses out a little bit into turn 8, and that's going to give him about a 5/10 loss to Boss Cookie, so unfortunately that might be the nail in the coffin right there. As Charlie won't have DRS on this lap, or probably the next one.
Well,
should give Boss Cookie a safe run.
I think what is now hurting Charlie, and maybe this is why he's not on the button, he doesn't have the battery, or I'm sorry, the fuel light is now blinking red, so, well, he's still using the button though.
Still using the button, but his fuel is low. Maybe he's just on the cusp though. But I don't think he's got what it takes to get Boss Cookie towards the end. His tires are probably fading. Same with Boss Cookie though at this point. Looks like the mediums are a little bit better care.
He's gonna have to get in DRS range by the end of this lap. Crucially, well, really before the final corner and be in DRS range, so he needs to find 4/10 somehow in the next couple of sectors to get his best chance. As
Sector 2 yellows.
Oh, Charlie went
I
around.
think that was Charlie. Charlie's gone around at turn 8, so yeah. He's got no fuel?
He might be out. He might actually be out of fuel.
Charlie and Port and Veyron closing quickly on Charlie.
The way
There's one lap left.
Wow.
There's still one lap left, and Boss Cookie's going to start the final lap and have a 10-second gap to the next driver down. Port's got wing damage. The only driver that can even contend would be Veyron, and he's 15 seconds out.
Inside of Port, as if I was Port here, just let Veyron go. Luciano has a penalty, but it's a 6. Inside of Port,
yeah, Charlie, I guess, was hoping on a safety car at some point in this race and just doesn't have any fuel. So that's going to be all those positions lost. Drix might even get him out at the end. Same with No Limit. So this might give Katra a position.
He might not finish
safely towards the end.
With how slow he is going, he might not finish in points. But how about on side of Port here? He lets, oh, Luciano spins. I don't know if that was contact between Luciano or not, or if just Luciano just spun hitting the loud pedal. He's got Danny Rick now passes him. So Danny Rick and Sada Port are fighting for the final position, podium position. They both have 3 seconds. They both make contact.
Oh, and that's contact. And Danny Rick is now off, so unfortunately, it looks like Port might be able to hold on to that position, but Toneless is right there, so Toneless might be able to get the final position towards the end.
It's going to be Toneless.
So Toneless is going to get it on penalties, but not on track, but right now, Boss Cookie takes the win.
Boss Cookie wins by 50 seconds over Veyron in the Mercedes, so Veyron keeps his podium streak alive with 3 in a row to start the season, and it will be on the track inside of Port with P3, but Toneless with no penalties will be able to finish P3 with inside of Port's 3-second penalty. Wow.
Trick sets the fastest lap on the final lap, taking a 17-1 for himself to grab an extra point. Katra does have her penalties. Will that push her out? Mozzie moves up to P8 off of not having penalties. Katra holds on to P10, so that's points for her. Inico, after having that disconnect, really kind of threw him for a loop, not having a safety car to really pull it back at any point.
Wow.
OJ also having issues. Same with Zach. Ardell, I know, had some spins and some other issues. And yeah, with no safety car, unfortunately, really threw off their race.
I really have no words to say for Charlie. Wow.
That was an interesting way. Not the final 3 I thought we were going to have, but Veyron will take driver of the day.
Wow, it was a tremendous drive. He didn't start in the top 10, had to use the alt strategy to do it. You were right all along. He was a threat for the podium, just didn't transpire the way we all thought it was going to go. As we'll work on getting these 2 in. These 3 in, and we'll do our little interview with our podium. And so just bear with us. We got Veyron here. We're trying to get Boss Cookie and Toneless to join for the podium interviews. And, well, let's just say we had really no clue if he was going to be on the podium for the last remaining laps. There was a lot of stuff going on. Pretty sure I sent one to Boss Cookie. If not,
I know I've sent one to all of the drivers as well, so once they
there
all get
he is.
in
Okay,
here.
good. So we're all of them are here. So let's start with Toneless and then Veyron. Toneless, I'm just gonna ask one simple question. What was going through your mind when you went from basically, if I remember, P5 on the final couple of laps to P3 to be on the podium? Yeah, just what's going through your mind, because I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming as well, especially at the start of the race where some people were just crashing and spinning in front of me. At one point, I even saw Ardell doing a wheelie in front of me into turn 3, I believe, on lap 1. So yeah, that was pretty chaotic. But yeah, I'm just really surprised that I managed to get from where I started to P3. Surprisingly, besides that and a certain McLaren gave me making way too many moves on the start finish straight and give me a hard time passing him. Besides those 2 things happening, yeah, I'm really surprised that that happened. Hey, I'll take the P3.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I mean, looks like Charlie ran out of fuel coming to the white flag, and then Ansada Port and Danny Rick had their contact, which just left the door wide open for you to take advantage. Yeah, well done, Veyron. I guess I can ask you the same thing. Um, what was going through your mind when you finished P2? Because probably with 3 laps to go, maybe P5 was about maybe the best you could do, maybe P4, and then mayhem happened.
Yeah, yeah. I thought P5 was the maximum. I was pretty far off the pace with the front runners, and I just got lucky with a lot of people making mistakes and stuff that put me into that P5 position in the first place. But yeah, Drix I think got damaged or something, and that promoted me up a position. And then I don't remember. I think Port either had wing damage or he ran out of fuel, and that was another position. And then I was in the party with in an Xbox party with some of the other drivers, and they were saying that a Red Bull is going slow, and I couldn't believe it that Charlie ran out of fuel because he was so much faster than me. It was really shocking. And yeah, I can't believe
Yeah.
a podium was even in the picture, and I'm very happy about that. But yeah, congrats to Boss Cookie. Good victory.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, congrats to him as well. I mean, you came from 17th on the grid to get
Yeah.
P2. You started out the season quite strong. 3 podiums to start the year. You won at Bahrain. I believe you finished third at Imola, and now second here. So it's been a good
Mhm.
start for you in the championship.
Yep. Yep. Consistency's been pretty important so far with a lot of people kind of all over the place right now. So yeah, podiums are always good.
Toneless, where are you in the championship? Oh, this is so. It's basically your second race. So see, it's still early days in the championship. So congrats to you.
Unfortunately, at Bahrain, oh sorry,
Go ahead now.
I had internet issues on at Bahrain, which is why I couldn't partake in the first race.
Ah, that's unfortunate. We uh, we've all had those issues from time to time. Well, we'll go to Wraith, and he'll interview our race winner, Boss Cookie.
Well, Boss Cookie, that was an interesting win to give you a quite a dominant win towards the end. It looks like Drix tried to fight it out with you and ended up losing his wing. It didn't look like entirely your fault, but looks like Drix also had to hit the brakes pretty hard with that wing damage and ended up doing a little bit of damage to port from what it looked like. And yeah, with Charlie losing out fuel, it pretty much just gave you a runaway win at the last final 2 laps after having to fight it out all the way with Drix. So how was that for you?
Yeah, that was a fun race. I gotta I either crash or I don't make a mistake all race, and today was one of those like rare races where I just don't make a mistake. I got one warning, lap one going wide, and I didn't get a single warning after that. But it was it was fun. I think Drix had more pace than me. Like when he was able to pass me, he was able to gap me by like a few tenths, but he just couldn't break DRS, so I was just hanging there. And then Port came up towards the end because Drix started to. I think Drix was struggling a little bit with just stability because he would like kind of like half spin it out of corners, and it would just lose us a little bit of time to the point where Port could catch up. And he got in that fight, and I clipped the curb in turn one, I think. And so I carried a lot less apex speed, not a lot, but like 20, 30 miles an hour less than usual. Maybe not even that, but. And then I think Drix hit the back of me, and then I think Port hit Drix. I honestly have no idea what happened. I felt something.
Yeah, we pretty much caught most of that on stream, so it was pretty interesting towards the end. I don't think you were quite at fault for that, honestly, but it did quite change up the end of the race as Drix lost his wing there, and then he backed up into Port, which I think gave Port light wing damage, nothing to ruin an end plate, but he just didn't have the pace, which allowed Veyron and essentially Toneless to catch up and get through. So
Yeah.
that's essentially what happened behind you. I know that's kind of hard to tell when you're up front, but that's unfortunately what happened towards the end of the race, and that's why there's such a huge gap towards the end in the last 2 laps that you were able to pull out. So
Yeah, I knew eventually I was gonna miss turn one, and that was the one lap I did. And it's unfortunate because I really enjoyed that with Drix. He had a penalty anyway, so I was kind of just sit behind him. But after disconnecting from like the lead in Imola, I think That was a good little redemption race.
Well, I'm glad you got your redemption race in. I know you've had some hard times between tier 2 and realistic with either contact or having a spin here or there or some sort of mistake. So I'm glad that you've had a happy race where you were able to battle it out and didn't make as many mistakes and you were happy with the overall ending.
Yeah,
So
too sweaty.
that's good for that.
A little too sweaty. Yeah, it's pushing the whole race. So, but it was fun.
Well, it's tier 2. You guys are quite fast. Again, this is like the upper 5%, 2% of all league racers if you have to really look at your pace. So that's why it is so sweaty,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, good. I don't know what Veron like does in the morning because I swear to God, I'll see him start like P18 every week and he ends up at P2, P3. I don't know what, like it's in FSR and in Tier 2, I swear to God.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Nah,
Charlie had his
kudos to-
fuel issue. There was a few spins from a few drivers. I think most of the drivers on the grid actually had a spin between contact or something else like that. Minico had a disconnection, so that threw him pretty much out of the race. So like there was a lot of things that happened, which kind of allowed Veyron to work his way through, and that's unfortunately the way it worked. So.
Yeah, good race.
But yeah, great race, guys. And I think we're going to cut it off there. But thank you for joining us for Tier 2. And have yourselves a good and safe night, everybody.